10 best cartoons from the 1990s every kid loved. The 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s brought us classics. But the 90s? That was a whole new level of awesome. The 1990s were a golden age for cartoons, and if you grew up in that era, you know exactly what we mean. This decade brought us some of the most creative, funny, and memorable animated shows that kids and adults couldn't get enough of. Whether it was superheroes or quirky characters, these shows made our mornings pure magic. In this video, let's dive into the top 10 cartoons of the 1990s that'll take you back in time and remind you why this decade was truly something special. Number 10. Family Guy. Family Guy is one of those shows that always makes people laugh, even if it's a bit edgy sometimes. It first aired in 1999 and became a hit from the very start. The show was all about the Griffin family. Peter, the dad, is funny in a clueless way. He often gets into trouble, but somehow manages to get out of it. Lois, his wife, is the voice of reason, while their kids are each a bit of a mess in their own way. Stewie the baby is a genius with a twisted mind, and Brian the dog is smarter than most humans and has a sharp sense of humor. Family Guy's mix of random, outrageous jokes and pop culture references made it stand out. It pushed boundaries with its humor, which is probably why it became a favorite for so many. Watching it now brings back so many laughs and memories of those wildly inappropriate but super hilarious episodes. Number 9. Rugrats. Do you remember Rugrats? It's one of those cartoons that instantly takes you back to the 1990s. This show wasn't just about babies. It was about seeing the world through their curious little eyes. Tommy Pickles, the brave leader with his trusty screwdriver, always found a way to lead his friends on wild adventures. Chucky, with his nervous yet lovable personality, was always hesitant, but went along anyway. And who could forget the twins, Phil and Lil? Or Angelica, the bossy cousin who made sure everyone knew she was in charge. The magic of Rugrats was how it turned everyday moments, like finding a lost toy or exploring the backyard, into epic adventures. Kids loved it because it felt so real. It's no surprise Rugrats became a classic. Its charm still holds up, and every time you hear that unforgettable opening theme, you can't help but smile. Number 8. Pinky and the Brain. Yeah, these two lab mice who spent every single episode plotting to take over the world. Pinky, the silly clueless one, and Brain, the ultra-serious mastermind. Which one is you? Team Pinky or Team Brain? Comment below! Honestly, who thought two mice could come up with such crazy ideas? Every night, Brain would say, "Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?" To which Pinky would always respond with something completely random and ridiculous like, "I think so, Brain, but where are we gonna find rubber pants our size?" Classic Pinky. And then there's Brain, always the overachiever, plotting world domination with his overly complicated schemes. Every plan was so detailed, and yet it always failed because Pinky was, well, Pinky. No matter how genius Brain's ideas were, Pinky's chaos always messed things up. It was like the perfect mix of genius and nonsense. But honestly, that's what made it so fun to watch. You never knew if the world was going to be taken over or if they'd end up failing again. It was a wild, hilarious ride that kept kids and adults laughing. And honestly, it still does today. If you love diving into the world of classic cartoons, give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more nostalgic adventures. Number 7. The Ren and Stimpy Show. The Ren and Stimpy Show was one of the weirdest, funniest cartoons of the 1990s. Premiering in 1991, it was like nothing anyone had seen before. The show followed the misadventures of Ren, a cranky, short-tempered chihuahua, and Stimpy, his happy-go-lucky cat buddy. Their friendship was chaotic, but that's what made it so fun to watch. What made this show stand out was its odd humor and graphic and detailed animation. It wasn't afraid to be silly, gross, or downright strange. From Ren's over-the-top rants to Stimpy's goofy antics, every episode kept viewers on their toes. Remember the absurd close-up shots of their faces with all those crazy details? Those were unforgettable. The animation style was colorful and exaggerated, perfectly matching the show's vibe. Looking back, the Ren and Stimpy Show was a wild ride that left a lasting impression on anyone who watched it. It's still a favorite for fans of quirky offbeat humor. Number 6. Animaniacs. Animaniacs. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably remember this one. It was wild, unpredictable, and ridiculously funny. This show had it all. The crazy Warner siblings, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, causing chaos everywhere they went. Seriously, they didn't just break the fourth wall. They tore it down and built a new one just to mess with you. And don't even get started on the songs. Who could forget the Nations of the World song? Then there were the side characters, like Pinky and the Brain, two lab mice who were always plotting to take over the world, who later became so popular that they had their own series. Classic stuff. Honestly, Animaniacs was the cartoon that was secretly teaching us everything from history to music, all while making us laugh till our stomachs hurt. It was pure magic. And let's be real, nothing quite measured up to it after that. Number 5, Dexter's Laboratory. Dexter's Laboratory was the kind of cartoon that didn't just entertain. It pulled you straight into the chaos of his secret lab, making you feel like a genius inventor caught in the middle of his wild experiments. The show, which started in 1996, followed Dexter, a boy genius with a secret laboratory hidden behind a bookshelf in his room. Dexter was always cooking up wild inventions, like robots, time machines, or crazy experiments. But no matter how smart he was, his plans often went hilariously wrong. And let's not forget his sister Dee Dee. She was the complete opposite of Dexter. Curious, clumsy, and always messing with his gadgets. Every time she wandered into his lab, chaos followed. Their sibling rivalry was so relatable and funny that it kept viewers laughing every episode. Tag your sibling or friend here who gives you the vibes of Dee Dee and relive these iconic shows together. From Dexter's iconic accent to Dee Dee's hilariously chaotic antics, the show had a magnetic charm that etched itself into our childhood memories. It's the kind of cartoon that stays with you, a nostalgic ticket back to simpler times filled with endless laughs and pure joy. Number 4, the Powerpuff Girls. Who could ever forget the Powerpuff Girls? 3 pint-sized heroes, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, taking on the wildest, wackiest villains to protect Townsville, all while proving that sugar, spice, and everything nice pack a serious punch. I mean, who knew that saving the world could be done by 3 pint-sized superheroes with big eyes and even bigger powers? Blossom was the smart one, Bubbles was the cute, overly enthusiastic one, and Buttercup? Well, Buttercup was the tough one who'd throw hands before thinking twice. Together, they were unstoppable. What made the Powerpuff Girls so great was that it was a mix of action, humor, and heart. The villains were a joke, like Mojo Jojo, who literally couldn't stop talking in his villainous monologues. But honestly, his plans were so ridiculous that you couldn't help but laugh. The show wasn't just for kids either. There were tons of little jokes for the adults too. Plus, it made you feel like you could take on anything, no matter your size. The Powerpuff Girls was the ultimate mix of action and charm, a whirlwind of fun that never fails to bring a smile every time we look back on it. If you're loving this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that like button. And for more cartoon nostalgia, subscribe and join the adventure. Number 3, Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Captain Planet and the Planeteers was a whole vibe. Picture this, 5 teenagers with magical rings that gave them control over Earth's elements. Fire, water, wind, earth, and heart. Yes, you heard that right. Heart. They were like the Power Rangers reimagined, trading giant monster battles for epic missions to save the planet, proving that heroism isn't just about fighting foes, but protecting the world we call home. So, these Planeteers, Kwame, Wheeler, Linka, Guy, and Mati, would try to stop the world's villains, like Hoggish Greedley and Dr. Blight, from destroying the environment. They'd shout, "By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!" And bam! Captain Planet would swoop in to save the day. But let's be real, the guy was a green superhero with a mullet. He wasn't exactly winning any beauty pageants. Which Captain Planet character was your favorite? Comment down below and let us know. But despite the cheesy animation and that mullet, the show did teach kids a lot about pollution, recycling, and taking care of the earth. You could say it was like the original Save the Planet campaign, only with less doom and gloom and more big blue muscle. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious how seriously they took saving the world. But hey, it worked. Number 2, X-Men the Animated Series. X-Men the Animated Series was one of the best cartoons of the 90s. It first aired in 1992 and instantly became a favorite for many kids. The show was based on the famous Marvel comics about a group of mutants with special powers. What made this cartoon stand out was its mature themes and serious storylines. It dealt with big ideas like prejudice, acceptance, and fighting for what's right. The show had unforgettable characters like Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, and Jean Grey. Each hero had their own powers and unique personalities, making them relatable to so many fans. And let's not forget about Magneto, one of the most memorable villains in cartoon history. Even though it was a cartoon, X-Men tackled real-world issues and taught kids important lessons. The show's impact on the superhero world is still felt today and has become a multi-million-dollar franchise. It's no wonder that so many fans still talk about it fondly, even years later. Number 1, Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series was a game changer when it aired in the early 90s. This show redefined Batman for a new generation, with Kevin Conroy's commanding voice embodying the Dark Knight and Mark Hamill's unforgettable cackle bringing the Joker to life. Together, they created a dynamic so electric, it made Gotham's shadows feel real and its villains more chilling than ever. What made Batman the Animated Series stand out was its animation style. The show had a unique Art Deco look that gave it a classic feel, with dark shadows and dramatic lighting that set the tone. Along with crimes, the show also explored Batman's struggles, his fears, and the complex relationships he had with friends and enemies. Kids who watched the show were drawn into its serious storylines and deeper themes. Things like trust, justice, and the darkness within. Even today, fans still look back at this show with love, and it's often considered one of the best superhero cartoons ever made. It's a real gem from the 90s. As the video comes to an end, we hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, revisiting the 1990s cartoons that shaped our childhoods. So, which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If this video brought back some great memories, don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.